A very good morning, children. We are going to start with the another topic of demand. Okay, now another topic of demand would be the slope of demand curve. Okay, now what is the slope of demand curve? Now, demand curve generally slopes downwards, indicating negative or inverse relationship between the price of the commodity and its quantity demanded. And the slope of demand curve is estimated as change in price by change in quantity. This particular triangle, okay, represents the change, and this the negative sign represents the negative relationship between price and quantity. Okay, so slope of demand curve is calculated as minus p by q, which is change in price by change in quantity. Okay, as I already told you, negative sign indicates the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay, now the next is demand function or the determinants of demand. Now, what are the determinants of demand? It's nothing but the things due to which the demand of a consumer is affected. Okay, now coming to the individual demand function, as you have the individual demand schedule, the individual demand curve, you also have the individual demand function and the market demand function. Okay, so the individual demand function, this particular formula represents the individual demand function. It's not that you have to calculate anything, is the points which they have denoted in the form of a function. So dx is nothing but the demand of the demand function of the commodity x. Okay, demand of the commodity x. F represents the function. Px is nothing but the price of the commodity x. Pr is nothing but the price of the substitute or the complementary goods. Y is the income of the consumer, and T is the taste and preference of the consumer, and E is the expectations. Now we shall look into each and every point elaborately. Okay, now at any point of time, the quantity of a given product, goods or service that will be purchased by the consumer depends on a number of key variables or determinants. Okay, so whatever we buy, it depends on a certain variables or determinants. Now, what are those? The most important ones are listed below. The own price of the product. Okay, now coming to the first function or the first variable of the demand function, it talks about the own price of the product. Yes, okay, as we already know that demand and price, they are negatively related, and if at all the price of any commodity goes down, the demand of it goes up, and if the price of any commodity goes up, the demand of it goes down, right? So the price has a lot of role to play in the demand of a consumer. The next one talks about the price of the substitute and the complementary goods. Okay, now whether we talk about tea and coffee, and the complementary goods are the goods which actually, complete each other. So substitute goods are the goods which can be used in place of one another, like tea and coffee. If at all you want to have tea and then there is no tea in the house, then you can also have coffee. Whereas complementary goods are the goods which actually complete each other, like the vehicle and the petrol. Okay, if at all you have a vehicle and if there is no petrol, then definitely you cannot use your vehicle. So complementary goods complete each other, like the car and the petrol, the bread and butter, the ink and the pen and all that. Okay, so they complete each other, so those are complementary goods. So the price of substitute goods and the complementary goods also affect the demand of the commodity. For example, if you are in favor of having tea, and you really like having tea, but then the price of tea goes up, so as a consumer, okay, we can shift to coffee. So that is the price of substitute goods, how it affect the demand. And the price of complementary goods, for example, if the price of bread goes up, okay, then might be that the demand for the butter is also going to go down. Okay, so this is how we actually see that how the substitute and the complementary goods affect the demand of a commodity. Then the level of disposable income. Okay, disposable income is nothing but the income which you actually spend, okay, after paying the taxes. So the level of disposable income, so if at all the income of the consumer is high, then the demand is going to go high. Okay, and if the income of the consumer goes down, then the demand goes down. Okay, so when it comes to income, okay, the income and demand, they are positively related. If income goes up, the demand goes up, and if the income goes down, the demand also goes down. Okay, coming to change in buyers and taste and preferences. Okay, yes, sometimes our taste and our preferences also affect the demand. Okay, so if at all we are used to a particular brand of clothes, as I already told you, even if the price goes up, we tend to buy them. Okay, and sometimes even if the price of any commodity is down, and if you do not like that product, then definitely the price of that particular thing is going to go down. Then coming to expectations. Okay, now the expectations of the consumer also affects the demand of the commodity. If at all you are expecting the price of any commodity to go high in the future, then you're going to buy that commodity and store it. And the same way, if you expect that any commodity, the price of it is going to go down in the future, then you would definitely buy that commodity in the future. So expectations also affect the demand of the commodity. So these are the variables of an individual demand function. Now, when we talk about individual demand function, children, we talk about only one consumer. Okay. Coming to the market demand function. Now here, as you can see in the previous slide, you have the price of X, the price of the related goods, the income, the taste and preferences of the consumer, and the expectations of the consumer. The same thing is there in market demand function. The price of the commodity X, the price of the related goods, the income, the taste and preference of the consumer, and the expectations. The extra two things which are added in the demand function are the population. Okay, that means change in the population number or the number of buyers, which is denoted by N, and Y is nothing but the income of the population. So that is distribution of income. All these points are exactly the same as I explained you in the individual demand function. The new thing in the market demand function is N. So which is nothing but change in the population number or the number of buyers. So if in any area the number of buyers of any commodity is more, then the demand of that particular commodity is going to go high. And if in any area the number of buyers of any commodity is less, then definitely the demand of that particular commodity is going to go down. Okay, then coming to distribution of income according to the population. Okay, now distribution of income also affects the demand of the commodity. For example, if in any area you have a more number of rich people and less of poor people, then definitely the demand of that particular commodity is going to go up, because if the commodity is costly, then the rich would not be affected with the price, and definitely they are going to demand for it, whereas the price of the commodity definitely affects the poor people. So this is the distribution of income. Okay, so the market demand function, okay, everything is same as individual demand function. The extra two variables are N, which is nothing but the number of population, and Y, which is nothing but the income or the distribution of the population. Okay, so this is it for this class, children. Individual demand function and market demand function. So I would like you to write this particular thing, slope of demand curve, and write this particular formula, and then also write down the individual demand function as it is given in the slide. Okay, write down the individual demand function, write down the formula, and write what each particular variable represents as it's given here, and also write the market demand function, and also write what each variable represents. Okay, so this is it for this class, children. Thank you.